dear viewers and the fans of Digital Educational Hackathon. This is the last webinar before the Digital Educational Hackathon, and I am glad to see you. Today is, of course, the final webinar, and we talk about winning strategies and hackathon finals and beyond. We have the 4 guests, as always. 2 of them are coming into the studio physically, and 2 of them will join with us later on through the web. See you soon. Welcome back into the Digital Educational Hackathon webinar. And first guests who will talk about the finals of hackathon, and not only, but also about their experience, are the Tudor and Marcos. Hello. Welcome. Welcome into the studio.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Can you, in the beginning, introduce yourself a bit, and then also kind of make some bridge between you and Digital Educational Hackathon, and what this connects you? And maybe first, Marcos.
Sure. Thank you very much. So my name is Marcos. Right now I'm a student at the University Politécnica de Madrid. And yeah, I'm a student at the university, and the experience that I have with DigiEduHack is I was a previous participant in the last year's hackathon. I actually was a winner, and yeah, it was a really fun experience.
You're the winner, previous winner. What was the project you won?
So my project was called Artificial Intelligence. I had 2 other partners with which we made a video game, and the aim of the project was mainly showing the potential that technology has in education and all of the fields that it can be applied to. More specifically, we made a virtual reality game, and we wanted to just show how virtual reality is a really big tool that has a lot of potential in today's world.
Thank you. Tudor, what is your background and your connection?
I'm an EdTech trainer at FCL Moldova. We are working at the Future Classroom Lab to bring digital innovation into education. And last year I was the organizer of the DigiEduHack event in Chișinău, Moldova, where we actually took care of everything from the very, very beginning till the end, and the submission of the solution, and also coaching the team that won last year's hackathon to further develop their ideas and participate at the final stage.
So you went also through the process.
Pretty much, yes.
What was the experience you took with you after this marathon?
It was a very, very intense experience. Not necessarily hard to go through, but I just had, to do some multitasking and take care of, the part of not missing anything and creating a comfortable environment for the hackathon to make sure that, all the participants have everything that they need. We had a 24-hour continuous event over the weekend. We had 8 teams participating. Plenty of ideas. We had workshops, we had some meals prepared for them. They had plenty of time, to socialize and interact between the teams, exchange ideas and experience. And it was quite an interesting experience. First time for me organizing such a kind of event, but I mean it's a big opportunity to learn so much about people and how to develop innovative ideas, especially in the domain of digital education.
In the next time, what kind of things you will do in the same way because they worked?
First of all, I'll make sure that the teams get coaching and get feedback throughout the whole event, like at all the stages, starting from the beginning on how they actually understand and conceptualize the solution for the initial problem they are provided with. That worked very, very well. Being able to give them feedback, and it was not only me, we had a team of mentors that were just going around and helping the teams with developing and refining their solutions and like formulating their way of tackling these kind of issues. That was one of the things. Second of all, we'll still offer the same opportunities for socializing. It was really, really nice to see members from different teams coming, to the leisure area and, playing some Monopoly while discussing their ideas, experiences, all that. Because you can actually feel that, it's not a tense environment, but it's rather a friendly kind of event where people come together and, work. Even though it's a kind of competition, it's still a very, very friendly way for them to build their ideas and to collaborate in this hackathon. So it was great. Those are two main things that I would do.
Some webinars back, one expert said that it's even a little bit kind of party. That's party of ideas, party of possible solutions. Markus, what Tudor said about these mentors and coaching, is it this what the members of the groups need?
Yeah, I feel like the connection between the one directing you and the one participating, that's a really important skill that you need to use. I feel like that's one of the main reasons that pushes people to really thrive and really push the limits. I feel like it is very important to put effort into that kind of relation. Just showing that you are there to help with whatever they need. And from my own experience, I had a really good relation with the one that was guiding me. And he was very, very useful. I feel like without him, I wouldn't have known how to focus my project. And I feel like wanting to aim your project at that topic is the most important part.
By the way, the focusing thing is real. I mean, I've seen teams, working so hard on defining, their approach to solving a problem. They were asking, is it to be an app that will solve the solution?
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't know, because I'm not, giving you an exact restraint or an exact framework. I'm just, helping you with understanding the problem and then defining an innovative solution, because I don't want, to give my personal input. And I'm just wondering if you have, I don't know, because I mean, you being one of the winners, is it very, very important for you to have these structured or non-structured? Would you like it to have a formal or a non-formal feedback session?
That's a good question, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's really interesting to think about it. The thing is that at the beginning, you really need to brainstorm. You need to think, we can do this, we can do that. There are many possibilities, but by the end of the hackathon, you really need to focus on, and not by the end, even by the middle, you really need to focus on what you're gonna make the finished product be. Because you're presenting an idea, you're not really presenting the product itself, so the idea must be clear. And the idea is the most important thing that you need to present.
And you need to present it well, because your idea could be very good, but if you can't present it for the jury and for the others, then maybe you're not the winner. So what was the strategies you used for your presentation?
Right. So by the beginning of the project, we were brainstorming. We came up with the idea to use a project we had already developed. So that's the reason we came into the advanced category. But then half of this time was spent on making that idea even better, like upgrading the project, making changes, focusing it on education. And the other half of the time was spent on how do we present this idea? How do we make people
Believe you. Yeah,
believe
also,
in us? Yeah. So, yeah. And we had a friend, like one of our partners, was the one that focused on making the video format. And we thought that that was the best form to like expose it as a video format. Since nowadays everything is done by either YouTube or other kinds of video formats, we thought it was a good idea to present it that way.
Yeah, thank you for the hint of the technical hints as well.
By the way, I
Yeah.
wanted to say, being the organizer, I had the chance to see the feedback from the jury on how they actually
That's
have
interesting.
evaluated the solutions that we had. And one of the main points why the winners of last year's hackathon were actually the winners is because they put a big emphasis on exactly what's new, how their solution is innovative and changes something, how it brings impact, on the matter that they are discussing, rather than, going into the technicalities of how it should function, how they're actually doing, like these small bits of details. And they actually put a lot of emphasis on how their solution can be adaptable on different levels and help people with different needs, to help. And by the way, interesting thing, they were also presenting an AI solution on how to generate and coach, how to generate learning paths and then coach the pupils that are taking personalized learning paths. So that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
What do you think it was the hardest thing? I wanted to ask you because I think I will have the same mission to prepare the judges to judge the solution. So what would be the greatest challenge when you are trying to present an idea?
Well, the greatest challenge in presenting an idea, that's a really important part of the project. I believe it would be recreating the idea itself, like trying to show people what you're seeing. Because when my team was making the idea, we had it a pretty rough shape and we needed to polish a lot of stuff. But the hardest part of presenting an idea is trying to show everyone what you are thinking of. Because an idea is a really abstract thought, and trying to post that to the public, it was really hard.
Tudor, now you had a feedback from Markus. What you're going to change in the future? What you learned from this process and also from his answer?
I'll go back again to the workshops that we are delivering for the participants, and I think we need a very, very good workshop on pitching and how to present the idea, but as well on how they visualize the idea and how they express their things, on what they actually put an accent on, because that's quite difficult for people to do.
We have all the projects have also the weaknesses, yeah, and you need to show the weaknesses. And it's a last minute, maybe you can find out some weaknesses. How to present these weaknesses? Some good advices, or how to find the weaknesses and present the weaknesses. Did you?
Yeah.
Found weaknesses and presented?
We had a lot of weaknesses, but we thought of a brilliant idea. We actually thought of, wow, we have these problems, we have those problems, and we decided that instead of saying we have those weaknesses, we would say first, these are the bad things, but these are the good things that can come from these bad things. We wanted to...
It's kind of compensative mechanism.
Right, so if you say a bad thing, but then you say a good thing, people are gonna see the positive side of things. And it is a really strong weapon, trying to show people, even because of this or because of that, we weren't able to do this, but we know that in the future we could improve on this, And that's one of the most important parts.
Tudor, you can be agreed with it? With
Yeah,
your experience?
that's one strategy that I've seen people do.
But other
you know,
strategies?
But other strategies, for example, we had one team working on a solution, and then when the jury started asking questions, you know, about the weaknesses, they were like, yes, but this is not our focus. We are not actually targeting this type of issues. We are going like for a very, very specific framework. And then, I mean, that kind of dismissed the questions, I mean, a part of the questions from the jury. But it's very important how exactly you package this kind of response, because you have to be very, very careful, you know, on how you evade, you know, this type of issues. Because then you want to look very, very competent. You don't want to look like you are unprepared to answer some questions. I guess that would be one important thing, you know, communication and the style of communication.
That's all the time the most important, before and during and after as well. That's true. How to make sure that this is the solution is sustainable?
I mean,
this is the one question what you need to answer probably.
That's a very, very good question. And generally, teams have been asking it about, you know, the resources that they would be able to use after, you know, the hackathon in case they actually have a winning solution. And always I try to, you know, put an emphasis on the fact that they have to think about using as little resources as they can. Because whenever you use a lot of resources, you have to actually go out and hunt for them. And also it's a problem in terms of sustainability. You also have to think about the roadmap of development of the full solution, because you are presenting an idea, you are presenting a concept, a plan. Just as Marco said, you are not able, you know, to present in such a short time to elaborate and present a full solution. You have to present the idea and a very well-structured plan. And I mean, sustainability, I said, sometimes it's a problem on how people actually treat the ideas, because again, if you have an infinite amount of resources, it's very, very easy to do whatever and see what it sticks. But I think the true mastery is working with as very little resources as you can, because that's even more realistic and, you know, is easily scalable.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Marcos, how did you solve this sustainability problem?
Yeah, sustainability, we saw it as the future of our project. And so we started to ask ourselves, if this were to be an actual winning project, if this were to be a startup, what would we need? We focused on like the needs, and then we made a list of that. That was when we found out that, wow, making these kinds of projects, they really need a lot of stuff. So we started to check the list, and we started to say, what can we get rid of? And then with the main things that we needed, we made the finishing touch, and then we added to the presentation the future of our project. And we focused it on a way that's like, in the future, we're gonna need this, 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 and this. And so we focused on the future of the project, as sustainable as it could be. But yeah, for sure, that's one of the main things I feel like we lacked a lot of, because we only focused on that on the last 2 hours maybe. So we would
There is
have
always the lack of time also. You have
Yeah.
only the 24 hours.
Yeah, so
I can imagine.
it's one of the things that we realized we would have loved to have a bit more time on that.
Thank you, Tudor. Thank you, Marcos. You are welcome back after the next session, when we will be together as 4 of us, and we'll talk about winning strategies a bit more for these new participants who are waiting your hints and tips.
Thank you
so
very
much.
Thank you
having
very
us. Thank you.
And dear viewers, soon we will meet with you again, and next topic will be about the lessons and hints. Hello again. Digital Educational Hackathon, the last webinar before the big show. And we have the new guests. Hello, and hello, Blarina and Michaela.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you, and you are joined with us through the digital way, and we still can hear and see you. It's wonderful. And the first question is that what is your background and what connects you with Digital Educational Hackathon? Michaela, you are the first.
Thank you. So I am working with the International Research Center on AI under the auspices of UNESCO, which is based in Ljubljana, Slovenia. And we had the privilege to organize the DigiEduHack main stage event in 2021, which was a big challenge also from the terms of it being a hybrid due to the circumstances of COVID. But we managed to make it a big festival. Great spirit was there. And I was also happy to motivate and help a little bit with some solutions coming from Slovenia. Thank you for inviting me.
What are these main learning points you took from this huge event in Slovenia?
Well, there were organizational challenges, of course, because there's many stakeholders connected to this event. It's really has a big reach, and maybe the learning from this is also something to share with future participants or hosts. That such a multi-stakeholder approach is really difficult to come by. So you are reaching at the same time your peers and whatever students and mentors, and you're reaching policymakers at national and international level. So that's quite amazing. That was a big learning. And at the same time, another part of it that I would like to point out is that it came out that we had 2,500 participants, but in the end, it comes down to personal stories. We had some really amazing personal stories, great narratives, and very rewarding experiences. Also, human experiences, not just technological.
Thank you. We can talk later on a bit more detailed way. What are these technical and also the personal or human, let's say, weaknesses and opportunities during this such a huge event. Thank you, Michaela. Blarina, what is your background and what connects you with the Digital Educational Hackathon?
I'm CEO of Junior Urchin Develop Albania, which is an organization that deals directly with education of youngsters on financial, entrepreneurial, and job readiness. The hackathons have been part of our activities right after the pandemics, or better say in the midst of a pandemic, when we had to respond to the cut-off of traditional learning due to lockdown, and we being part of J Worldwide and J Europe, a big umbrella organization on education, we participated immediately in the Foodathons and Climathon organized global-wide. And what brings me to the DG Hackathon is 2 years ago, I was approached to be the ambassador, one of the ambassadors. I was honored to, and since then I've been interacting with university, high schools, and organizations who reach out to students to digitalize and to approach education in this new era.
I can ask maybe that how hard it was to do to really to approach to the target group and to make this attention and to get people involved.
To reach to the target group, it wasn't hard, since we have a rich database of network of the teachers, students, educators, to whom we work from 10 years now. What was a bit challenging is to convince them and to make them confident to enroll in the hackathons for being educational purpose or foodathon purposes, because there was the myth of the digital and hybrid forms of organizing and participating and thriving in this hackathon. So it has been a double path on both introducing them to digital forms of communication and improving and increasing their self-confidence in the process.
Thank you. We was talking about previously in the previous session about the weaknesses and how to resolve these last-minute project weaknesses, and also how to polish the prototype and presentation before this last minute. Do you have any hints or tips or something to, or maybe some experience in the audience that how to do it? And you can, yeah, please, Larina.
It was very interesting indeed to listen to Tudor and Marcus from their very fresh experience of being participants in a hackathon and organizing a hackathon, and it was very fruitful to say that I come very close to their needs on what to do to face last minute difficulties, or to absorb and to go further the project weaknesses. When you work in a long-term project, it is much more easier. But in hackathon, you have to be very agile. And we, the adults, the mentors, the business mentors, and the hackathon organization should play a major role on this process, assisting the students to embrace their weaknesses, their defects, and use them as a good problem to be solved. Because this goes a bit behind in time than the preparation, the presentation for the hackathon, that trying and failing is a learning experience. And especially when it comes to pitching before a jury of business people or people that are very, very acquainted with innovation and digitalization, we should build their self-confidence and flexibility to adjust to the last minute project issue. And this asks for a very strong team spirit. So hackathons are not a one-person, one-man show. Even though I agree with Michaela that are the personal story that talks, but we have to build a team in order to be ready to face any last minute that any project that might have, especially in projects that are related to digital solution for education.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Michaela, do you want to add something, or to be agree or non-agree?
I absolutely agree. I think that the beauty of the hackathons is this team spirit that can be maintained for this amount of time. And that's probably also a challenge of the hackathon organizers to keep this momentum up. But to your previous question of how to present, I would say a very simple, have a backup advice. So have a demo of what you want to make to really get your idea out there. As the previous speaker was saying, it's hard to show what you're seeing before you build it fully. So I think that any sort of demo or backup or visual story is always good to have, and should also deduce a little bit of stress when presenting to the jury or potential investors even.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Another question in the last session was about this sustainability. Their project could be turned into the long-term sustainable initiative. Have you met such of projects where you can see that they are the long-term sustainable? Question for Michaela at first.
If we talk about experiences from the hackathons,
Yes.
not just the DigiEduHack, I have seen some projects that were results of a scientific collaboration and including youngsters in hackathons. And there were some very sustainable solutions delivered through the hackathons, and they are still around many years after, of course. And at the same time, the experience we had in Slovenia with the DigiEduHack 2021, the Slovenian team really built a solution that's sustainable in all kinds of ways. So it touches on the sustainability part in the sense of environment. And I think it's still open and available, but I don't know how well it's being used.
Okay, thank you. And the same question to Blarina.
I don't have a concrete example from the Digi Hackathons, that it has been only 2 of them in Albania in the last years, but we have a success story coming from our Students Company program, which is a mini hackathon that it is organized within students of high schools, establishing their first mini startups. And when it comes to sustainability, we have observed something very positive, that students' companies that have come together with a solution, an idea, now are startups of 3 years in the market. And this has proven that the approach of bringing youngsters together with a challenge and with a mission to be solved on an innovative and digital approach works very well, because the market out there is in big demand of these solutions. So we so far have an educational app that is in the market for young kids in the Albanian language. We have a Center for Digital Education who offer service in blended models. We have an app that works for tourist purposes, combined with bike renting for tourists altogether with audio guides. So these are 3 of many of the sustainable models from, let's say, hackathons approaches have turned into real business with 3 years plus of experience in the market.
Thank you, Blarina. Thank you, Michaela. And soon you will be back in the studio, and we will talk later on about the Digital Educational Hackathon. Thank you so much. See you soon. And there, viewers, the last session, we will talk about the last hints, last tips about how to be successful in the Digital Educational Hackathon. See you soon. Welcome back. Digital Educational Hackathon webinar, last session. Before the session, ask me anything, and you can ask already, you know it, you can ask already any questions you have for the participants who are now all together in the studio, online, offline, and they're eager to answer to your questions for sure after this last session, for the last effective tips for these who need to present their ideas, how to make the world a better place. So the one question I didn't ask before, but I want to ask it now, is about how to maintain this community, supporters and partners. And Blerina, you told about it already a bit, that the structure need to be bigger and sustainable to keep it up and to for the living of this product or the service, whatever. But do you have any experience after a while of this digital education hackathon, Markus? How it is to build up and maintain this?
Right. So, yeah, the structure, you really need a really good base to build up everything. So when you start the project, you really need to create a solid base for everything to stand up. It is important to have into account how you're gonna maintain everything. You could start by brainstorming, you could start by doing a lot of stuff, but once you get your idea in focus, you need to just settle on something, then build up that. So I feel like it's really important to know what you are doing and to know how to evolve from that, but never try to build too high to where you risk falling.
Mm-hmm. And how to keep the contact later on with your supporters and everyone else?
Right. So keeping contact is an effort, I must say so myself, because I really enjoy like peacefulness and everything. But it is really important to try to ask, I don't know, try to make friends, try to be friendly, try to be interested in everything else, try to talk to someone, and after that, to everything that comes up, you should always say, use the yes rule. Like, if they offer you to do something, always say yes. As I was, for example, offered to come and do the webinar, I said yes. Even if you don't know what that's going to end up being like, always say yes to opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Good advice, good advice.
Me being the organizer last year for the last year's event,
some successful stories, huh? You can tell us.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite good to see the participants, you know, asking questions afterwards, like, how did it go? Where we can see the results? Maybe there is something that we can do until, you know, the next year's edition comes through. And we can see that there are plenty of people who have attended the DigiEduHack last year, who have kept in touch, you know, with the social media pages. We are still trying, you know, to develop a well-formed community. I think that will, you know, come with more experience and more participation into this kind of thing. But as an organizer, I can say it's very, very important to give them the opportunity to have like their dedicated channel of communication, be it a page, be it a group, you know, whatever you do.
At least also, online, yeah.
At least online, yeah. And
but sometimes
then,
offline?
Sometimes, yeah, we meet because some of the teams participating last year were
Events?
actually a group of friends, like pre-formed teams. And then during, you know, the year we met at different events, you know, also in digital education or, you know, connected to hackathons. And it was a real pleasure, you know, to like, you know, catch up on all the novelties, you know, coming in the domain and, you know, discussing those. And now when I invited them for our event in Moldova that will take place this year as well, they were more than happy, you know, to join us again. So I think we did a good job at, you know, leaving a good lasting impression. And that's important also, you know, for the partners partners, whenever they see us, keeping in touch with the participants from last year, then they would be more interested, and less reluctant to help us with organizing, another edition, because sometimes you need, them to trust you.
That's absolutely for sure. They need to trust it. Thank you. Michaela, the same question for you. How to keep it up later on?
I think that my previous colleagues already said anything that I could think of saying. If summarize in my own way, I would say that meaningful connections are important in having success, because as we all know, lots of energy can go into online communications, and sometimes we also don't want to do that because we also like to be peaceful, as just said. But to maintain meaningful connections also with potential partners and ask for mentorship, I think this is a good way to approach this. And perhaps also think of managing expectations, because of course everyone dreams away of a big community of followers, big success, but in the end, sometimes it's better to keep it a bit low and grounded.
Yeah. You also, in the beginning of our webinar, you said that there are the details of the technology and the people and the relations which are important during this hackathon, and you learned from it. If you can say, I don't know, 3 things, concrete things about the people and about the technology, what are your suggestions for these people who need to organize?
I'm gonna answer this question by sharing our story. So when we were organizing the DigiEduHack, it was before AI was so understood or used. And of course, because we are the AI center dealing in sustainability, we wanted to put this to the forefront in whatever way we could. And what we did at that time, we tried to secure and prepare some relevant data sets for participants to tackle these challenges. And I would say that one of the good experiences was, and it was also our goal, is to demystify AI at that time and make people comfortable using it to build solutions. I hope that answers the question a little bit, but I can develop more.
I think that everyone who are interested right now, they are already writing down the questions. So please don't hesitate to ask more detailed way if you are interested about Michaela experience, and for sure she have this interesting experience exactly with the AI then. Blerina, I have the question for you. With this digital education hackathon, what kind of the good examples of storytelling you seen or heard during the presentations? Which grabs the attention?
The private university personal stories hit the most, because while driven to problem solving through innovative and digital solution, when there is always a personal story of one of the team members who clicks and who finds the solution of one problem, that speaks much more strongly to the audience and to the jury members. But this personal story should always be enriched with the facts and practices from what happens in the intensive day of the hackathon. So personal stories hit the most while they're covered with the experience that is being shared within the team and the whole community of the 24-day hackathon.
Thank you, Blerina. Same question for the winner. Which makes you win?
Could you specify the question, please?
Yes, the question was about the storytelling techniques that
Right.
makes some story better than the other or different than the other.
So how to present the idea.
Yeah, through the story.
So storytelling is a really important skill. Even so more when applying to these kinds of projects. If I had to say of a personal experience, storytelling, well, I relied a lot on my partners since they were the ones that focused on that part. But I can say a lot about what I learned from them since they told me like the tips. They said that in storytelling, it should always be used as a formal storytelling, like how they used to do it long time ago, with an introduction, a problem, and a solution, like how the Romans used to tell it. So we focused on, beginning, middle, which was the problem that we faced, and then explaining the solution, how we tackle problems. So I feel like storytelling is kind of like reading the book. You always want to make the readers feel tension, like, oh, this is the problem, this is what we are facing. Now here's the solution.
Thank you. Tudor, your experience, you've seen a lot of presentations already.
The team winning last year's hackathon actually used a very, very smart thing. They said it's based on the American concept of keep it simple, soldier. So they have
Keep it simple, stupid, is it? KISS.
Or
KISS model.
yeah, KISS, or it can be. But I mean, I heard it under this.
It's different. KISS. Yeah.
Okay, learning something new every single day. And they said they are not necessarily marketers because they were only graduating high school, but they're very, very good on the technical stuff. And they said that if you are able to explain a complicated concept but in very simple words, then everybody can understand that, and then they can use the Q&A session to clarify any further questions. And they made very, very efficient use of the time that they had for the presentation. Nobody actually got bored, and everyone kind of like followed the very short and precise presentation. And after that, they had a very, very intense Q&A session. And I think that played well for them compared to some other teams that were, going into very, very many specific details. And I mean, keeping it simple, it's key, to getting the message across. Being very brief, I think that helps. But also you have to make sure that you package the idea in the right way, just as we said earlier, communication is key.
But what's about this personal story, or to connect it to some member of the team, or
They actually gave a few examples of exactly how they are using themselves, but I mean they gave very, very specific examples on how can that work in a very easy way, and it can be easily reproduced, and very, very in a very short time it can be implemented into actual practice. And I mean, whenever you use very simple examples, then it's very easy, for people to actually grasp the concept, and you don't need a lot of explanation for that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Michaela, your experience with storytelling, maybe some tips from your experience.
I absolutely agree with Tudor. Keep it simple. All great ideas can be titrated down into very simple few sentences, right?
And it's a very, very hard job to do, because I know it, how hard it is to keep the things simple. But still, yes, this is very good advice.
Exactly, but then as it was mentioned, then you have a very complicated, very in-depth Q&A session, probably where you go into the technical details and into actually the architecture of the solution, which is not simple. But the main idea, keep it simple.
Okay. The last question what I have is about the stress in the group, and it's before this last minute and these last weaknesses, and shaping the presentation and shaping your prototype. how to keep your mental welfare, that health. Clarina, have you seen some good strategies how the group before the last presentation can take down the stress?
It's for us and for me that I've been on the part of the jury. It's sometimes difficult to identify their strategies because we see the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But if you observe them during a full preparation day hackathon as a mentor, you see that there are some very successful techniques to low down the pressure. And I think that the young generation is much more equipped with such skills naturally, as Tudor and Marcos was sharing, because they come together as a group of friends, as a group of the same interests, and they mingle with the community with a common purpose. But important is that to be trained on some minor techniques of facing this stress of last minute defects or last minute miscommunication before the pitch. Preparation. It's like the three-time batter of the French cuisine as a secret. And balance between enthusiasm and self-criticism in a constructive way. So be the one to be open to criticize or to look on the potential weakness that the idea could have. So preparation, enthusiasm, and constructive criticism within the team before going to the pitch.
Thank you so
All
much.
All these
Larry.
slow down the pressure and the stress.
Thank you so much. Someone, do you want to add something?
I would like to add something, and it is that we were friends, like my team and I, we were good friends, but I feel like this applies to almost every single group. Whenever you want to take pressure down, just make some jokes, try to have a good time, try to talk about something that's not
related with this.
Related with the project, yeah. Try to add a bit of laughter to the project. Maybe then people have tensions taken off and everything and feel more comfortable.
This is the last session of the TV show of the webinar of Digital Educational Hackathon. If you can say something for these people who are coming together quite soon to the Digital Educational Hackathon, then what it could be, some sentences, why they need to join.
Right. So this is actually, I will give really good advice that my high school tutor gave me. And it is to never put yourself at that low self-esteem. Always speak about yourself, even if you don't like it. Try to make yourself big. Try to make your project big. Try to make yourself proud, because people are always going to judge you by whatever you are showing them. So if they really want to judge you, you should always give them the best that you can. And that comes with also trying to train yourself with the self-esteem that you have, trying to be more extroverted, trying to always show what you can do. Never get in the shadows or try to leave everything. Try to man up, you know. Try to show what you're worth.
Thank you. And do someone wants to add? We have the last minute before we need to end up shortly, if you like to.
I would say you are most probably better than you think you are. So just, try to get yourself involved in innovational education projects. Try somehow to see if you can come up with an idea, and don't really stress about what you can or what you cannot do. just try to be creative and think about what it could be. I mean, that would be one of the things that maybe it will stimulate, people to participate. Because it's a wonderful experience, and it gives you the possibility to experiment without actually, having the fear of being rejected or, without actually having any kind of fail. Because it's not a fail, it's about how you can bring something new and learn from it.
Thank you, Tudor. Thank you, Blarina. Thank you, Michaela. And thank you, Marcos. Welcome back. Welcome back, but this was the last webinar of Digital Education Hackathon, and soon you can ask all the questions, or soon will be answered all your questions. This is right to say, and I hope to see you again. Have a nice hackathon.